in the North Carolina office. We have the North Carolina office here, and we have me. I'm Caroline Wolf, and I'm joining from Louisiana. And in the North Carolina office, from right to left, we have Barbara Reichert, we have Mel Van Patten, we have Alicia Coyle, she's the new face, and we have Jennifer Raby. We're going to be recording. Mel, have you started the recording?
I have. We are good to go, Caroline.
Okay. So welcome to the Libraries Connecting Texas webinar for September. It's hard to believe we're already in fall. We want to start by making an announcement that we're very sad to make. Jennifer Raby is attending her last Libraries Connecting Texas webinar, and we're really sad that we're losing her, but she has a wonderful opportunity, and we're wishing her luck in that opportunity. We're going to miss her, but we want everyone to know that we're still going to continue working with you and helping you with all of your applications, and it'll be Mel and me and Barbara and Alicia all working very hard to help y'all get through the window. And we have, I think, a few new people here. We're just now up to 8 attendees. So some of you are going to get to know Alicia and Barbara a little bit better, and get to know me and Mel a little bit better. We want to remind you that we have a Libraries Connecting Texas telephone number dedicated directly to you. It's 516-801-7821. And we have a Libraries Connecting Texas email address, and it's lct@eratecentral.com. Those are good ways. I'm sorry, did I get the wrong number? It is 7820.
Just double checking the phone number, 7820, but included it on the agenda, so they've got it in writing too.
Yes, I realized it as I said it. I apologize. Don't call 7821. That's Andy.
Well, go ahead, but you probably won't get LCT help. You get a very nice person also at E-Rate Central.
He'll just transfer you. Anyway, sorry for that mistake, but I'll just get going on the agenda. How about that? So I have wonderful stats to announce. Libraries Connecting Texas has total funding through Wave 25 of $1,083,647.06, and you represent 45% of the library funding in Texas, and I think that's pretty darn good. I'm really impressed. And we're continuing to add people, so I think we're going to maybe dominate Texas. Do you think we'll take over? I don't know. We have a few critical deadlines that we want to let you know about. Make sure that you are paying attention to our emails and our newsletters, because we've been sending out the list of libraries who need to invoice USAC still for 2018 funding. Check our newsletter and make sure that you're not on that list of libraries that has not invoiced USAC yet for 2018. The deadline is in about a month now, and if you have a 498 to file, which is the document that we're going to go over a little bit later, it's really important for you to start on that as soon as possible if you're planning on filing a BEAR. So just want to make sure that you've done that. We have 3 Libraries Connecting Texas members who are still waiting for Category 2 funding. That's San Juan and Tyler and Dallas. Those are the 3 that are still waiting for funding, and they're only for Category 2. So all of the Category 1 applications for Libraries Connecting Texas libraries have been funded to date. We're going to be scheduling a Libraries Connecting Texas webinar for October 17th. So for those of you who have not filed a Form 470 and or on the list that was also included in this week's newsletter, you need to either join that webinar or contact us and let us know if we can help you file your Form 470, or you can just start it on your own. I know a lot of Group 1 libraries last year started your 470s on your own and then had some help checking your 470. So that's fine. If you want to get started on your own and try, we're happy to check it and make sure that everything's okay before you hit that submit button. So I just kind of want to make sure no one has any questions about those. We have, we're down to 7 people. So I know that Donna, you already have filed your Form 470, and I don't know if anybody else is on that list of those who need a Form 470, but if you have any questions, just feel free to ask them in the chat box about 470s or bears or anything else that's associated with E-rate, and we'll be happy to respond to those questions. So today I wanted to go over the Form 498, which is a form that's required if you're going to be filing a bear form. I also want to warn you that there is a dog in the room with me and it might start barking. So I'm just going to warn you, if someone's at the door, she might bark. So I am going to start the training site. I'm going to sign in as a library, an independent library. So if you have branches, it's the same form, but it will just, this will show a library system, a library that's only one library and not a bunch of libraries. I can tell you that when you log into your profile, you may not have permissions for the Form 498. So I think I'm going to log in as a user that hasn't logged in yet. And so I can show you how to fix those permissions if you if you log in and you don't have access to the Form 498 when you first log in. Can everybody see my login screen? Am I on my applicant landing page now?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, thank you. So when you log in, you're going to be at your landing page. There are a lot of choices here. I'm going to go to my entities and click on my library name, which is Independent Library number 10128. And if I look here, they don't have a locale code in here, which they need to because their library category 2 budget is determined with that. But I'm not going to go do that right now. First of all, I'm going to go to related actions to see what my choices are. And I don't see here that I have an option to create a Form 498. So the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to go back to my summary page and go to Manage User Permissions. And here I see under 498 permission, there's no access. That's why I don't have a link to create a Form 498. So I'm going to change that to School or Library Official. And I can do that because I'm the account administrator. If you are not the account administrator and you try to do this, you won't see this. You won't even have the option to change permissions. So if you are not the account administrator and you're the person who needs to take care of this, then you need to make sure you're communicating with your account administrator. So I have assigned full permissions to all of the forms here, and School or Library Official is the full rights user for the Form 498. There are other options here. There's General Financial Contact, and the General Financial Contact does have an opportunity to certify the form, but the School or Library Official is the only one that can add all of the information in the Form 498. And the Form 498 requires banking information. So the person who needs to be the School or Library Official needs to have a username in the EPC portal and also have been assigned this Form 498 School or Library Official permissions. So I'm going to go ahead and submit, and that should have now magically given me the Form 498, and it didn't. Well, it's still there. So in this case, if it's still not there, I would call USAC.
Caroline, I did see it in that list. Scroll down.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I didn't scroll down far enough, huh?
It's about halfway up the page.
There it is.
There you go.
All
I didn't see it.
I'm blind too. Okay. So here's create a Form 498. I'm going to give it a nickname, which I'll call library information. I don't know. Call it whatever you want. The name of the library is doing business as, or formerly known as, and this is what would be associated with your DUNS number probably. So if you don't know what your DUNS number is, we do have a way to look that up, and whoever your business office person may have that information as well. So I'm going to put this as the library. And then you'd need the tax ID number of whoever the library is, and I'm going to make up some numbers. Hopefully you'll accept that. If there's a holding company, put a dash in there. So business type. Now, I want to talk about this business type field because a lot of you, I think most of you, received an email from USAC asking you to go in and edit your business type. The problem with this is that they sent the email to everyone, even people who didn't have a Form 498. So that confused a lot of people. If you are filing, if you're getting your discounts only through the SPI method, then you don't need to have a Form 498. The Form 498 is only for people who file bears. If you have filed a bear in the past, or if you have created a Form 498 in the past, you'll need to go into your Form 498 to this field and edit it. And you'll need to choose a business type. I think most of you will probably be county government, city or township government, or something like that. But you can choose whatever you want. They don't care, they said. I'm going to put, in this case, city or township government. And then I'm going to save and continue. Then here you'll put the name of the general financial contact, and I'm going to put Snoopy, but Snoopy's not there. I think you'll only be able to add someone who is already in there. So just be aware that you need to do that, and it may not let me, yeah, it's not going to let me go any further. I'm going to go ahead and save a draft, and I'm going to see what the name of the person is here. Oh, the name is first name, last name. So I'm going to actually go in here and well, it's not going to let me. Anyway, first name, last name is the name of the person. So I'm going to go back to my tasks, and there's the Form 498 again, and I'm going to save and continue and see if it'll let me do with first name, last name. It did. And then it populates with the contact information for the first name, last name person. And then I'm going to save and continue. Then you'll need to add the federal employer identification number, Dun & Bradstreet number, That's your DUNS number that I was talking about earlier. And you need to put a DUNS number in there. If you haven't put a DUNS number in there, that was also part of the email that USAC sent out, that if you don't have a DUNS number in there, you are going to need to add it. I'm just going to add numbers in here. Oh, okay. Then the remittance contact, if it's the same person as the general financial contact, then you can check the box here and it will automatically populate. If the remittance contact is different than the financial contact, then you'll need to add the information for the person who is the remittance contact. Here's where you add your banking information. You would need to add the name of your bank, the account number, and the route, the transit number. Make sure that you put this information in correctly, double check it, because later on you'll need to upload a voided check or some other document that proves what your routing number and your bank account number is. Now, this is where you have an opportunity to add another billed entity number. This is in the case of someone who has more than one billed entity number that may have an application. So this is where that would be added. I'm not going to add any more. I'm just going to save and continue. And so this is just showing that it's a school or library or other billed entity recipient, and then you continue on to certification. And once submitted for certification, it can only be edited by the school or library official until it's certified. So I'm going to say yes. And it says, please carefully review the data entered on the form for accuracy. And then you would check, I've reviewed the form and you're sure it's accurate. And then you would click I certify. And then you would click certify. And then you should get a task that allows you to print it. Now, for those of you who need to add your business type, you will need to recertify that form. So just be aware that that's a requirement for editing the form. You'll edit it and give it the name that, choose the business type it is, and then recertify the form. And so here is my PDF of my Form 498. I think it's really important for you to look at it. And if you noticed, there's a form number right here where it says FCC Form 498. You need to make sure that you write that down and note it. It'll help us. If you can give us that number, we can help you track it better. So when you fill out the Form 498, do a PDF, save the form. We don't need to necessarily have a copy of the form, but that form number will help us to help you track it. Once you have certified the form, you should get an email message or a message that says that you need to upload proof of your banking information. That would be like a voided check that shows the account number and the routing number on it. And then they will verify the information against the form that you submitted. If you have a typo, they'll reject it, and then you'll have to go in and edit the form and fix it. So that's why it's always a good idea to double check. Does anybody have any questions? I don't see any questions in the chat box, but we've got a mic open. We can hear you if you want to talk and ask a question, or if you want to just put it in the chat box. Any questions? I don't see any questions. Mel, do you have anything to add?
Not about the 498 process, but just to reiterate what you said earlier, Caroline, about the deadline. The deadline to invoice is October 28th. You do have the option for a one-time extension, but why wait to get your money back? So if you need to have a 498, Jennifer's reached out to you. Caroline's sending it out every week. We'll work with you to get that done and help you submit your invoice and get that taken care of. Because that's your money and you deserve it. So let's help you get it back sooner.
I also want you to, if you filed your application in 2018 and you believe you've had your bills discounted by your service provider, it's not a bad idea to look at the list and see if you showed up, because sometimes people think that they're getting the discounts and they're not. So please double check that. I do see there is a question. So how to change or update a contact person. So the way that you would do that is you'd have to go and edit the Form 498. Let's see. I'm not sure if it will be available, but I will check and see.
So I know that the instructions that USAC sent out to everybody to update their 498 with the type of institution, those weren't exactly correct.
That's true.
You know, Caroline can show you how to go in and find and edit your 498 by going to the records, and underneath records, there's the Form 498. And
that's
from
right.
that list, that's all the 498s that are available. That's why you need to have your number ready, because you can plug that in the search box. Pull that
and this
up.
one is the only one here, so that
Yes.
so that makes it easier. Thanks, Mel. So here you can deactivate a Form 498, which I don't recommend unless there's something wrong with it, and then modify the Form 498. That's what you would do to change the contact person. And that's also how you would go in and change the business type or add the business type, because that wasn't a question in the 498 until recently. That's only happened in the, I guess, past month or so. And USAC is saying that everyone has the deadline of October 31st to add the business type. So while it doesn't affect the invoicing for 2018 recurring services that haven't had an extended deadline, after October 31st, it gets tricky as to how that will impede your reimbursement. So it's really a good idea to go into your Form 498 now and fix it. So here you would go and you can edit your contact right here. Now, again, you may remember when I was doing it, it needs to be somebody who's a user in EPC. So if you have a different finance director, you'll need to add your new finance director as the contact and give them Form 498 school or library official permissions, and then they can go in there and update the contact information to the new person. So did I answer your question, Donna? Well, if not, give me a call and we can work it out. We can fix it. Any other question? Okay, thank you, Donna. She responded. So anything else? Any more questions, concerns?
Well, one thing, I think that you were recently in the great state of Texas. Caroline, you and Barbara were there.
That's right. And I met two wonderful librarians when I went to that Farmers Branch training. I don't know if anybody else on this call was there, but I would love, Donna, can I put you on the spot? What did you learn? Can you, I don't know if you're connected to to voice. So let me know if it's a problem. But I'd love to hear what you learned or what you thought was the best part about USAC training.
Okay.
No voice, but she said she will type fast, and I will read what she says.
And just so you know, this was Barbara's first year to attend the USAC training. Do you have any feedback, or would you recommend it for libraries?
Absolutely. I mean, what we do it day in and day out, so it becomes second nature. But for those that do it once a year, it's hard to remember what you did the prior year. And every year things change. So they talked about a lot of the different changes. People shared a lot of ideas and problems and things that they had, and they were able to bounce ideas and actually get a face to the name and get some resources to help them. And they were really reassuring, like, we're here to help you, and if you have problems, and they were giving out their names and phone number, and they want to help, and they want to be a great resource to you. So it was nice to see how open they were to questions and how helpful they were. And I think they really want everybody to, feel comfortable with the process and feel free to approach them. So that was good.
Some other feedback that you gave me, Barbara, I would love for you to share with them. I know that you went to the beginners training, but you told me something that I thought was very interesting about when you that you attended the webinars before you went to the beginners training, and how helpful those webinars were before you went to the training.
Yeah, when I first started here a couple months ago, I was given work to do, and if I got to a stopping point and I wasn't able to get somebody, rather than sitting around and waiting, I just went on to USAC's website, and I would watch the webinars, and then I would come to a stopping point and do some work. And within a matter of a week or two, I had watched all of the webinars. And so when I was at the beginners class, it was nice to hear, maybe filled in the blanks here or there, but for the most part, it was everything that I had already learned on the webinars. So if you're not able to get to a physical meeting like this, those webinars are very useful.
That's really good feedback, because I know you're a true beginner, and it's just really good to know that those resources are there and that they're very helpful. So I will actually, in the next newsletter, I'll send out a link to those webinars, so that and I can actually show you while we're on this call too, and that will help. So Donna says that that she's learning that the best thing about the training was learning how to find things, and she said that was helpful, but it's still a bit overwhelming. So thank you for giving us some feedback on that, Donna. Anybody else was there? Oh, and seeing how and why some things are done through Epic and others, like the Bear, through the other site. Denise said that she's been having trouble getting the Bear pin, and so the Bear pin, there's actually a way to do that online. We'll give you a call after this. And Jennifer, do you think maybe you could help Denise with her Bear pin? Okay. So, okay, I see Mel. Okay. Sorry.
We're also excited to jump on and help you. So one of us will talk to you soon.
Good. Okay, so let me really quick show you how to find some training and outreach. So if you go to the USAC site, it's usac.org/SL, and you would go to the trainings and outreach link, and here there are webinar recordings. And so there are webinar recordings about the E-rate invoicing process. That's for all of you who still need to file a BEAR or a Form 498. There's the 486. That's an easy form, but there's a webinar for it. The PIA review process, preparing for 2019. Of course, we're almost halfway done with that, believe it or not. EPIC 101 for applicants. That might be a good one. Common audit findings, updating applicant profiles. There are other things too, like the one on invoicing. So I really recommend that you go to the usac.org/SL and check out the Learning Library. See if there's something that we haven't told you that maybe is there. Something that they did talk about in the training that I just want to make sure that all of you are aware of because it's important. The documentation period for retention period for E-rate is 10 years. That's 10 years after the last date to receive services. So, you know, the last date to receive services for recurring services like your internet access would be June 30 of a particular year. If you have purchased equipment or you know, something that's a Category 2 service, then that, of course, would be whenever you received and installed your equipment. We recommend that you don't throw any of the documents away. You can put them on a thumb drive, save them in a fireproof box somewhere. You can save them anywhere, but you can like electronically in PDF format, but do save them. Keep track of your documents. Of course, we're saving records for a lot of people, so if you can't find something, maybe you're a new person and the last director didn't save the documents or something, you can reach out to us, at least for things for 18 and 19, but do save all of your documentation. It's very important. So do we have anything else to add? Okay.
I think we're good on this end, Caroline.
Good. Well, I hope this was a helpful webinar for you. We're going to, again, put it on YouTube as we've been doing all of the others. And we hope you have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.
Thanks, Caroline.
Thanks, Caroline. One thing that another